Undercity is the closest thing that the modern world has seen to a successful large-scale and long-term anarchic state. It stands strong for two reasons, though. Aside from a rigid and dedicated adherence to the principles of freedom and responsibility by the population required for such experiment in government to work, there is an external influence at play, an unexplained and barely understood supernatural will which appears to force a low-level apathy towards long-term hostility, an acceptance of a simple and uncomplicated life, and a desire to harmonize with one's peers. This force is not really perceived by most of the masses, who seem to accept the situation and continue on with their lives without considering the influence upon them. But those of a more ambitious nature can feel the drawback to a simpler state and have to actively work against it. What this leads to is a society in which individuals are free to conduct themselves as they see fit, but ultimately have responsibility to the society that they belong to. This opens the way for people to be creative in not just their free time, but also the business they operate and the social circles they move in. At the same time, individuals take turns that feel natural and essential in maintaining gardens, helping less able neighbors, and generally looking out for those around them. This in turn means that neighborhood communities tend to be tighter knit than might otherwise be expected, where sharing of food and resources are commonplace and the idea of protecting, supporting, and on occasion elevating people within it is almost second nature. Neighborhoods tend to cross-communicate and share abundance where possible, and entire levels pull together to help and support one another to a lesser degree. While the conditions within Undercity are woefully less than ideal, what little the populace has is freely shared, and the community revels in each other's successes and commiserate in their losses. In a city of such freedom, it is not entirely surprising that art becomes an important function of life. Creativity known almost no bounds in Undercity, and such the walls are covered in paintings and murals, small statues adorn corners and alcoves, and music echoes through the streets and corridors. Owning art is seen as important to the populace and a matter of pride, and artists of all kinds hold a special position of respect amongst them. It is not uncommon to come across groups of actors or musicians performing for passing people in crossroads, gardens, and squares, gathering crowds in the process. The subjects of artistic expression tend to be eclectic at best, but often represent figures from a history long forgotten, peculiar and unknown landscapes and creatures from myth. Those creating art often talk about being guided by the very spirit of the city in their acts of creativity.